When we think about the penetration of Da Vinci surgery in the U.S., it's really about procedures, not hospitals that own the equipment. And from a procedure standpoint, we're very well penetrated in procedures such as prostatectomy and hysterectomy. In fact, for hysterectomy with cancer and prostatectomy, we're considered standard of care. However, in other procedures, it's really just the beginning. We think about procedures as being the benchmark for success for a number of reasons. The first is that we'd rather be deep in fewer procedures than broad. The reason being is we want to push through the early adopter phase, cross the chasm, and become really the standard of care, first and foremost. Other reasons are primarily because even though a hospital may have one piece of technology, for instance, one Da Vinci system, they will need to reinvest or desire to reinvest as they fill that up. And so ultimately looking at whether a hospital has a system, yes or no, is really not the right benchmark for penetration, because a hospital could have 10 systems, perhaps even more, if they're using the breadth of their procedures and their volume robotically. Another reason we look at procedures is early on we were quite successful at placing systems or selling them to hospitals, but we weren't so good at getting them utilized or used. And therefore systems were placed and we weren't adequately perhaps focusing on the surgeon preparation or staff preparation as much as we should have or liked, and utilization fell off and that system became underutilized, and that was bad for that account's investment and bad for the other hospitals in the area that saw that hospital perhaps not prospering. So since then we've completely focused on procedures and systems and hold surgeon training and staff training as paramount. So commercially, focus is really important. Certainly want to enable your customers to do a broad breadth of procedures, but really focusing on the 3, 4, 5 procedures globally at any one time is important to keep the company, sales force particularly, and trainers really focused on driving and being impactful in those narrower areas. In addition, in talking about procedural focus, I think it's important to realize the ability for a sales force to take on too much, or the danger of thinking they can take on more than they have on their plate at that one time. So focusing from the 100 procedures that could be done robotically down to 3, 4, or 5 for them is really important.